Mohammed?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Thank you.
Okay, as I said, they have wound up, and the recommendations of the seminars are to be now announced by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, who is now speaking following the sessions held this morning. Well, following the sessions, African officials spoke and hailed Algeria's constant efforts in supporting all actions aimed at alleviating Africa's voice at the UN Security Council, and they spoke in favor of a common action of 8 countries and Guyana. Uganda's foreign minister spoke and said that during the sessions it was highlighted that communication is important and Africa needs communication and coordination to overcome the challenges facing the continent. The sessions, he said, were fruitful, and they also tackled counterterrorism, its root causes. They also tackled the importance of financing the counterterrorism center that is based in Algiers. There was also an emphasis on alleviating and boosting Africa's economy, especially in terms of industry in the field of natural resources. Can you hear me, Mohammed?
Of course I can, yeah.
Yes, well, Mohammed, now we are expecting, of course, the recommendations. As I said, they will be announced soon by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. They will probably tackle finding efficient financing bodies that take into account the nature and context of Africa to find solutions to conflicts and crises besetting the continent. Recommendations are also expected to tackle African diplomatic action and the reinforcement of its presence at the UN Security Council, especially in the absence of a permanent seat for Africa. A reform of the UN Security Council is something that African countries, including Algeria, have been advocating for, and it was one of the major points discussed during these sessions. So also one of the major points discussed now, as I said, was counter-terrorism, and we are now waiting for the recommendations to be announced by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, who is now taking the floor speaking about the health sessions. And as I said, he said that he was optimistic since the sessions were fruitful, as he said. Over to you, Mohammed.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Asya. So we'll get in touch with you for further details in the future. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, and still with the Oran 11th edition of the Peace and Security Council, the Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, has also reiterated or received in Oran the Undersecretary General of the United Nations in charge of peacekeeping operations, Jean-Pierre Lacroix. The meeting provided an opportunity to discuss the areas of cooperation between Algeria and the United Nations in areas related to peacekeeping and security. The unofficial praised on the occasion Algeria's constructive role in the Security Council since the beginning of the mandate as a non-permanent member, as well as its valuable support for the various initiatives of the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, particularly those concerned in the development of the situation in the Middle East. So he also received the commissioner to the nuclear test ban, who recall the nuclear tests that Algeria was subjected to, which are more of a history than current affairs. Let's listen to him.
It's a great honour for me, as the Executive Secretary of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organisation, to be here at the Oran process. The African Union Peace and Security Council is an important structure, not just for Africa, but for the world. And I so much appreciate Algeria's support for this process, but also for the organisation that I head, to make sure that the testing of nuclear weapons, like happened here in Algeria many decades ago, is something of history rather than something of current affairs. The commitment of Africa to a nuclear weapon test-free world and ultimately a nuclear weapon-free world is deep in the heart of African leaders. That's why it's a pleasure to be here and to address the other leaders.
Mr. Attaf also received the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Mr. Ahmed Muallim Fiqi, on the sidelines of the 11th high-level seminar on peace and security in Africa. And in a statement to the press after the meeting, Mr. Ahmed Muallim Fiqi expressed his happiness and that of his delegation to participate in the Oran seminar.
Visiting and participating to the 11th edition of the high-level seminar on peace and security in Africa, also called the Oran process, in such a great honor for us as Somalis, and in my capacity as representative of the Federal Republic of Somalia and its foreign ministry, I participate in the seminar held in the city of Oran in the Democratic Republic of Algeria.
And the state minister in charge of energy, mines and renewable energies, Mohamed Arqab, has received here in Algiers a delegation of the Arab Corporation for the Guarantee of Investment and Export Credit, led by its Director General Rashid Ahmed Al Haroun. During the meeting, they discussed ways of strengthening joint cooperation and promoting investment in Algeria, in addition to developing regional cooperation. The Communication Minister Mohamed Mozyan has presided over a ceremony organized by the Algerian Press Service, APS, on the occasion of the 63rd anniversary of its creation. The minister stressed that the 63-year-long experience of APS depicted the various stages of the pioneering agency, which had carried the values of the Algerian people during the liberation struggle has been going through. He underlined the traditional means it has been relying on. The agency was now competing with the major international, or is now competing with the major international news agencies. Let's listen to him.
It's necessary for the agency to strongly enter all institutional media spaces in order to acquire all skills that rely on artificial intelligence and other techniques, while providing the adequate training to face up to challenges.
It's worth recalling that the ceremony was also attended by the Presidency Director General of Communication, Kamal Saeed, who has hailed the progress achieved by the agency since its creation in 1961. And in the Middle East, more airstrikes have been carried out by the Israeli army against various parts of the Gaza Strip, killing at least 37 Palestinians. The news agency Wafa said that over 100 others were wounded in the attacks that targeted the northern towns of Beit Lahia, Beit Hanun and Jabalia. This came as the UN described the situation in Gaza as horrifying and apocalyptic, warning that the conditions the Palestinians are confronted with were tantamount to the worst international crimes. With this last piece of news, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Time now for our weekly program, starting with the special interview compiled and presented by my colleague Asya Bakar as part of the 11th edition of the Peace and Security Council, or Peace and Security Seminar in Africa, held in the city of Oran. With this, we come to the end of it. We'll meet you again tomorrow for a fresh edition of our news bulletin. Thank you.
Hello there and welcome on the waves of Radio Algeria International. We are honored today to have with us Dr. Robert Floyd, Executive Secretary of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization. We are here in Oran. Thank you so much, Mr. Floyd, for being with us.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. So now, Mr. Floyd, what do you think of Algeria's, or how would you describe Algeria's relationship or relation in general with the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization?
Algeria's commitment to the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty is exemplary. They signed the treaty very, very soon after it was available for signature and ratified it a little time later. They have been wonderful, strong supporters through the whole life of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organisation, with their technical people involved in our verification activities, but they're diplomats, they're excellent diplomats, working with others to strongly support a world without nuclear tests.
So now, Mr. Floyd, what are the major challenges facing the organization in the current international context?
The current global circumstances cause many to be concerned about nuclear weapons. When we hear threats of possible use of nuclear weapons, threats of possible testing, accumulation of highly enriched uranium, there's a lot of anxiety. But what the CTBT does is actually give confidence to all states that if anybody is to test, to explode a nuclear device, then we will all know. Because the monitoring system that we have, over 300 monitoring stations all around the world, will definitely pick it up anytime, anywhere. And that gives great confidence to the states of the world that nobody can test a nuclear device in secret, and that causes there to be such a strong global norm against nuclear testing.
What can you say about the commitment of the international community to the treaty in general?
The international community is almost universally in support of this treaty, but we have 187 out of the possible 196 countries of the world that have signed this treaty, that have agreed to the object and purpose of this treaty. So it is one of those things that actually brings countries together. There's not a lot of those these days, but this unites. The net result of that I have seen is that other countries are even more committed to the treaty, not less.
So now, since we are talking to you on the sidelines of the high-level seminar on peace and security, or the high-level seminar of peace and security in Africa, what can you say about this seminar, and what do you think about Africa's call for more representation at the UN Security Council and for reforming the Security Council to be more just towards our continent?
To me, I'm incredibly honoured that this afternoon I will get an opportunity to address the Oran process and the members of the African Union Peace and Security Council, an amazing regional body committed to peace and security in the continent of Africa. The cause of seeking to stop nuclear testing and to eliminate nuclear weapons altogether is deep in the heart of Africa. You have a nuclear weapons free zone treaty, the Treaty of Palindaba, that so many African countries have subscribed to. But in Africa, out of 54 states, 52 of the 54 have signed the CTBT. So it's almost like coming home to be here. But I think it is wonderful the way that Africa is working through its Peace and Security Council to then coordinate its involvement with the UN Security Council. That's a powerful outcome of the Oran process within the African Union. I will be sharing this afternoon about how the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty is delivering towards some of those common held goals of African states.
Thank you so much, Mr. Floyd, for being with us on Radio Algeria International.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to our weekly program devoted to Algerian economic news. First in the news, speaking at the 28th World Investment Conference in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the Director General of the Algerian Investment Promotion Agency, API, Omar Rikesh, has highlighted the promising investment opportunities available in Algeria, according to a press release issued by the agency. During the conference, Omar Rikesh held a number of meetings with officials from investment promotion agencies in a number of countries, which provided an opportunity to exchange expertise, promote Algeria as a key destination for investment, present the opportunities offered by the country to investors, and explore opportunities for international cooperation with the aim of improving the performance and skills of the API. The Minister of State, Minister of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energies, Mohamed Arkab, has received a delegation from the Egyptian company Arab Contractors, led by the Deputy Chairman of the company's Board of Directors, Syed Abdel Khaliq Al-Wazir, with whom he examined opportunities for strengthening bilateral cooperation, according to a ministry press release. The meeting, which took place in the presence of the Egyptian ambassador to Algiers, Mukhtar Gamil Tawfiq Warida, and a number of officials, the two parties discussed ways of consolidating cooperation relations between Algeria and Egypt in the fields of energy, mining and renewable energies, in line with the guidelines of the leaders of the two countries, aimed at strengthening the ties of fraternity and mutual partnership. The Cement Industrial Group of Algeria, JICA, is playing a major role in the National Climate Plan, which aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and polluting activities, said the Director of Industrial Development for this public group, Mirzaq Zabouj, who was speaking at the 14th edition of the New Energies Show, Energies of the Future and Sustainable Development, held at the Mohammed bin Ahmed Convention Center in Iran. Mirzaq Zabouj underlined that JICA has invested heavily in recent years to reduce its carbon footprint and limit polluting emissions through various technical information and social programs. More in our program. Work on the road project linking Tindouf in Algeria to Zouiret in Mauritania are progressing at an accelerated pace with a view to achieving this strategic project within the contractual time frame, according to an official from the development company of Sidi Moussa, EVSM, which is involved in carrying out the project. In a statement to APS on the sidelines of the 20th edition of the International Public Works Exhibition SITP, which wound up last Wednesday, the Deputy CEO in charge of communications, Mohamed Belhout, said that work currently underway in Mauritania was progressing at a steady pace thanks to the mobilization of significant human and material resources. The Public Railway Construction Group, GCF, has carried out a number of studies with a view to adopting innovative ideas to deal with the phenomenon of silting up of railway tracks, particularly the launch of various projects to extend the rail network to the provinces of the south, said the group CEO Karim Ayyash. On the sidelines of a study day organized by the GCF under the patronage of the Ministry of Public Works and Basic Infrastructure as part of the 20th edition of the International Public Works Exhibition SITP, Mr. Ayyash said that the group, through its subsidiary, the Enterprise for Technical Studies and Rail Engineering, which specializes in railway engineering, had carried out a number of studies on how to deal with this phenomenon, drawing on international experience in this field. And to wrap it up, the managing director of the Algerian insurance and reinsurance company CAR, Hassan Oubran, said in Iran that the company attaches great importance to supporting agricultural investments by adapting its services to the needs of the sector and offering new services to investors in the sector. At an information day organized by the CAR, Mr. Oubran underlined that this institution, the oldest insurance company in Algeria, has developed solutions tailored to the agricultural sector based on field studies and has designed products that enable farmers, whatever their level of investment, to protect themselves against hazards that could destroy their crops or ruin years of work. He added that CAR's entry into the field of agricultural insurance with 9 insurance products reflects its commitment to contributing to the promotion of this strategic sector for the country as part of the national policy aimed at strengthening and diversifying the economy and guaranteeing food security. And with this, we come to the end of our weekly program devoted to Algerian economic news. Take care and bye-bye for now.
Algiers was called Al-Bahja, or Algiers the White, for the glistening white of its buildings as seen rising up from the sea. Algiers is situated on the west side of a bay of the Mediterranean Sea. Bahja Rahal was born on July 1962 in Algiers. Bahja Rahal comes from a family of musicians, but she's the only one to have made a career in music, particularly Andalusian music, a difficult and selective genre. In fact, the practice of this kind of music requires both a mastery of the instrument and a perfect voice.
خيالكم في العين ما زال حاضرا وإن غبتم عني
Bahjar Hal has started singing at the age of 12. Bahjar Hal went further in her musical education with the well-known masters of the Arab Andalusian singers, as the best knowns who were Abdurrazzaq Fakharji, Muhammad Khaznaji, and Zubair Qarqashi. She also wanted to prove that the female voice can perfectly sing this kind of music.